Joining me from Holland, good friend of Air Sports News, Gary Smith. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, hey Regan, very good, thank you.
So we're going to be seeing each other in, what is it, 3-4 weeks from now? 3 weeks?
Yeah. In Qatar, in Doha, Qatar, for the 44th CISM World Championship.
Yeah, this is the military parachuting championships. In fact, the CISM is not only skydiving. They have many sports, don't they? We just concentrate on the skydiving bit.
Exactly. They have like what you would call a mondial, where they bring all their sport, all the military world championships. Yeah. And that was last year, 2 years ago in China. Yeah. And that included shooting, equestrians, every sport you can think of. In fact, it's very close size-wise to the Olympic Games. They put you up in almost like a athlete's village. And you go into this huge buffet breakfast in the morning, and you meet golfers and you meet people doing all runners, you meet all different sports. And then
so it's all happening at the same time. It's all there at the same time.
Yes. So that's a huge one. And I think that's the same as Olympic. It's every 4 years in the military. But the one that we're going to now is just for parachuting. But that includes, the big one is accuracy, style, and then four-way. And then overall, once you've competed, at the end of the prize giving, they'll give for an individual the best overall athlete, the best overall parachutist. And we would say skydiver, but some of them, they shoot in accuracy as well. Yeah. So it's parachuting really. And female, and there's also a junior category, and then there's also a team overall. So even if the let's say there's one of the Germans who's outstanding, and he wins everything overall, you could find, I think the Czech team, the Czech male team is very strong overall. So it's very interesting to follow it. And obviously it comes down to quite a nail-biting finish towards the end, because last year in China, 2 years ago in China, where we saw teams, Germany popped through and won right towards the end in the very, very last round.
Wow. Yeah. How many have you been involved with, Gary?
Myself, for me personally, with Qatar, only one, the one before. And then in 2007, I went as a coach of the Norwegian girls team, the Norwegian female team, but they only did four-way as well. And of course, you meet people along the line that are always at these CISM meets. Hayabusa, of course, who I've coached, they are predominantly, they are the gold medalist contender or the strong favorites, but only in the four-way. Yeah. And then Jeremy, what does I say? Jeremy has worked with Qatar before me. So Jeremy's attended more of these events, and I think he's actually helping to run this event in Qatar, call him almost meet director,
Yeah. So a country to enter, do they have to enter all the parachuting disciplines? Or can they just do four-way?
Well, they're hoping that yes, you do, but no, you can just do four-way. So then you have nations like Hayabusa, Belgium, Qatar Tigers from Qatar, that only enter the four-way. And although they're super strong and they should predominantly win and come second or third in the four-way event, you'll see that you sit in the tents a long time, doing nothing while the accuracy is going on and the style. So I think with the CISM, the biggest event is accuracy. It's huge. We all know it. And I think it comes from the start where people said, hey, how can you be the best parachutist? Who can land on the small, closest to the target. And as they got better and better, the target became smaller and smaller. And it's almost the size of a quarter that they're hitting, even smaller.
So 2 centimeters, isn't it? 2
centimeters. Yeah.
I always say it's the what is it? It's a sport where the best score is no score.
Very true.
And when we've done it at the Dubai Championships, it always pulls the biggest crowd. It's a real pleaser for the public. They can totally understand what they're watching with accuracy, can't they?
Well, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing. Our sport is so difficult for people to understand. Even canopy piloting. I mean, yes, we needed you in the past commentating so people could understand what these people were doing. But I used to always take it, if my mother had to watch that sport, would she understand? And for sure, even though I'm more into the four-way. My mother had no idea what she was watching. And when you watch, as you say, when you're watching accuracy, people understand that they're trying to land on a dime. And they can see if they 1 meter off or if they miss the tuffet. And so, you get the applause nowadays with the big television cameras. You can see exactly where they're putting down. And the camera goes to the scoreboard, and you see a 0.0 or 0.1 centimeter. And so I think for sure it's easier for the public to understand what we're doing with accuracy.
Same with a lot of the tunnel events. Again, getting your mother to understand what's happening there. It's not easy sometimes.
And it goes so fast in the tunnel. I agree with you. I mean, everybody, four-way in the tunnel is super quick, but then you take the free flying, and freestyle, and everyone thinks, we're trying to push the sport into the Olympics, and of course we're always hoping for it. But I always say, you look outside, you don't know the difference of what one's doing to the other. Yeah. For an untrained eye, it looks very, very similar. But meanwhile, for the trainer, you go, oh, there's a big difference between number 1 and number 2. But so it's a difficult sport to sell to the public.
Yeah. Tell me about the CISM four-way, Gary. It's not like what most people would be familiar with. Most skydivers with four-way. The exit's very different.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's you launch a star. And you can, I only learned this in China, you can launch any formation. You can launch a square, a block, whatever you want, and then you can grip switch even into the star. But you've got 5 seconds to do that. And then you have to release the star. The star is always the first point of every single jump. So they have 8 rounds. It has to be a star. So even if you launch, let me say, an open accordion that we all know, it's not easy, but if you wanted to launch an open accordion, it does not count. You've got 5 seconds to grip switch into the star. And then as soon as you release the star, the clock will start. Right. But if you take too long, so if you take 6 or 7 seconds, the clock's already started on 5. So while you still grip switching into the star, if you've taken 5 seconds already, you then losing time.
Yes.
And then thereafter, it's a normal. It's 35 seconds from then. So they basically have 40 seconds that they're looking at. The first 5 seconds, they're just waiting, the judges, to see when you break the star. And as soon as that star is broken, the clocks will go. And then you've got 35 seconds to score. And they've made it easier in the sense that it's all the randoms that we do in our FAI dive pool. And of course, the star is in the random dive pool, plus only 8 blocks. And they've chosen 8 blocks. So to make it a little bit easier for, as we've just discussed, some of these nations, they don't only just do four-way. They do accuracy, they do style. So most of their time is done training accuracy and style. And then some of them will go, okay, well, we can spend a small part of our training time, we can allocate it to four-way. So they don't become that good in four-way. So for them, they've tried to make it a little bit easier, because otherwise, there are some nations, and you'll see it in Doha, some nations will score 8 or 9 or a 6 or a 3. And then you think to make it tougher for them is very difficult. The top teams want the whole dive pool made a little bit more, more challenging, maybe include an exit. I've heard talk of them saying, well, the exit should be included. It shouldn't be a star. It should be something else. And yes, I can agree from their side, but I think in the majority of it, most teams are struggling to score 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points. Why are we making it more difficult,
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me about China. How was it there a couple of years ago?
Incredible. Yeah, I was going to say, the winning nations are always going to be, you always looking at your favorites are going to be China, Germany, Russia, Czech Republic have always predominantly done well. We lived in an athletes village, and we had to drive 1 hour in buses. They bussed us out to this airport way outside. And then you basically forget about all other sports and you're doing parachuting. And they built up a big tent, a big village, and you would go to your tent, and they had translators standing outside your tent door, these little volunteers. So if you ever needed something, because of course there's not much English or any language in China except Chinese, and then they would then come to you and say, it's lunchtime now, or lunch has been served. And then you'd go into a bus and drive to the eating hall. But it was very, very well run. And again, of course, for me, I was there predominantly only for the four-way events. But if you're there, you get yourself involved and you watch and you try and learn who's winning the accuracy, what are the rules of the accuracy, what are the rules of style. Style is also a very, very I want to call it an old discipline, but it's been around, for a long time. And obviously it goes on, it's an individual, although there's teams as well, it's an individual one where they take, I think there's about, let's say 140, 150 athletes that participate. And after one or two jumps, they cut already in half because it takes such a long time. It's one athlete per pass. So that the plane will drop one athlete and then do a pass and drop the next one. And with 160 athletes, it takes a super, super long time. But it's a case of how fast that individual, they go into a little bit of a needle, like a head dive, or even a stand up to pick up speed. And then they go into a little compressed ball, and with very, very minimal movement, because they've got so much speed, they do a left turn, right turn, back loop, and then right turn, left turn, back loop. That would be the standard. But sometimes it's drawn which one you have to do first, either right, left. I think the back loop would always come last. So it could be right, left, back loop, and then right, left, back loop, or left, right. And you have to remember that. But again, it takes you back to the old days. But the top guys, I think there's Germany, a guy from one of the Germans won in China with something like, but in 5 seconds, like a high 5 seconds, 6 seconds to do those 6 maneuvers. It's with no booties or no nothing. They're in a little tuck thing with a lot of speed. It's incredible to watch.
That's what I had to do for my license. I'm that old with a free fall on rounds, actually what they call a half series, which was the back loop and the turns. Crazy.
Yeah, but and also like Hayabusa, two of Hayabusa in China, Dennis and Andy, they participated in style just to at least do something, because otherwise they're just sitting on the ground.
Yeah.
And I think they got as far as the second round, and then they were eliminated. And it shows you how good these other guys are, because we're talking of two superb, wonderful, natural athletes, Dennis and Andy. And you think, oh, you just give them a little bit of training and they'll do it. And not that they struggled. These guys are really, really good. That they're up together, the top 40, 50 in the world are good. And you'll see it in Doha. For me, it's incredible how fast, and it's very, very close. You're talking milli-tenths of a second between number 1 and number 5, or number 5 and number 10.
And is it judged from the ground with the telemeters?
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's all, and that's why you can only do 1 per pass, and it has to be on heading. So the pilot has to be really, really good, because he has to run it on a certain heading. The jumper comes out and lines himself up with a target on the ground, and that's his 12 o'clock of his 360. And if he goes over or under, he loses points. So it's amazing to watch. Boring if you watch a lot of it, I have to be honest with you. Because it takes so long, but when you watch the top guys, it's unbelievable.
Looking forward to it. You've spent time there in Doha already, Gary?
Yes.
What can you tell me about it? Do you know the actual location we're going to be?
Yeah, we're going to Al Khor. Umshot is the drop zone area, and it was a drop zone, but they've kind of they've built a brand new buildings. And I've heard from Jeremy, he's my source there in Qatar right now, that the buildings are complete. They're huge. It's good. And they've also, we're going to build up a big tent city. The grass hopefully has come on as well. So for the landing, for the four-way, we can be landing on grass instead of on dirt. But it's on the north side of Doha. And I've been there. And it's a great runway. It's a bit huge tar runway in the middle of the desert type of thing. Unfortunately, not the sand dunes that we like. On the south side, they also have a drop zone called Sea Line, and that's got more of the dunes that you used to, more of the Dubai desert drop zone. But Al Khor up north side, it's a little bit more of an industrial sand type of thing. So for me, scenic wise, Sea Line down south, which is also a military drop zone, is a little bit prettier than up north where we're going. But up north, they've done all the buildings, and it looks from our side very, very good.
It's interesting, really, because the eyes of the world are going to be on Qatar a little bit with the World Cup coming next year. So it's almost a trial event of getting a big championships in one place for them.
Exactly. And I think they've seen it like that. I think the whole of Qatar is actually also enjoying that this is a meet. And I think there'll also be certain times where they will close off the roads to move the athletes out, in and out. And it'll be almost a practice for 2022 as well, the football.
Yeah, interesting. Looking forward.
Yeah, they're very proud of it. And of course, you'll see when you're there, there's buildings that are built in 2022. So it's amazing. And for them, it's a huge event. And even this Military World Championships is getting a lot of media attention, media coverage, even from you, the great Regan Tetlow. And so the fact that they're bringing you out there, I think it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's showing that they're trying to push the events, and you'll see in one of the introduction videos, it's a big sporting nation, Qatar. They're trying to get better and better in sport, in all sporting events. It's not only skydiving or soccer.
Yes. Yeah. And the Tigers, how are they doing?
Yeah, Tigers are doing good. We've just finished a training camp a week and a half ago in Spain, which went well. And yeah, we'll do maybe a couple of days before the season. We'll do some jumps in Qatar, and then we're ready for the event.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, I'll see you there, Gary. When do you arrive? Do you know your arrival date yet?
I'm hoping November the 7th.
Yes.
Flying into Doha, so I'll be on the drop zone on the 8th.
All right. Well, maybe we'll catch, when I'm there, we'll catch an actual interview face to face.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you there again. It's going to be a long time.
Thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in Qatar.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.